What it do, y'all? Your boy Playoff Don is back with yet again another video. So I believe the NBA playoffs are coming up in about 3 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. It's pretty close. It's pretty wild. We're at that point of the season where this happens every year. I'm kind of just ready for these playoffs to get started. Regular season's honestly starting to bore me out. I feel like we kind of know everything that we need to know about these contenders, and it's great to talk about how good these teams are, and we can make up scenarios of how these teams could possibly get out of their conference and get to the finals and win it all. In this video, I want to dig deeper into like some reasons why some of these contenders could flop, or flop is a strong term. How some of these contenders could face some issues in the postseason. Let me say that. So in this video here, I'm gonna talk about my fear for every single contender in the NBA. So I will be talking about the 3 contenders in the East. In my opinion, it's 3. Sorry Celtics fans, sorry Heat fans, sorry Knicks fans, sorry Hawks fans. You guys are good teams. I don't feel like you're up there with these guys. So yeah, three teams we all know: Sixers, Bucks, Nets. In the West, I want to get into some Phoenix Suns, some Jazz, some Clippers, some Lakers, and do I want to get into the Nuggets? I'm going to see if I can squeeze the Nuggets in, because they were definitely contenders before, unfortunately, Murray went down. Once he went down, it's like, that really sucks. But you know what? Let's start with them. Why not? All right, so like I said, but before the Aaron Gordon trade happened, and you could see it unlocked this team. We're talking about the Nuggets here. You can see the Aaron Gordon trade unlocked this team. They were playing beautifully. Aaron Gordon slid right in, and it was a great fit, and it was beautiful to watch, and they were cooking teams. And then, unfortunately, Jamal Murray went down in the Warriors game. Tore his ACL, and he's done for the season. It really sucks. That news really, really sucked. Now, it's just kind of like they don't have that awesome creation from the perimeter like they had before, and it just sucks. And now you got to imagine it's Jokic, Porter. Michael Porter has been open. Like if I, I'm sure we all counted out Denver once Murray went down. If Porter can play the way he's been playing for this stretch here, Porter's been putting up some huge numbers. Like, if you didn't know, go check it out. Michael Porter Jr. is coming into his own and turning into that guy that we thought he could be. He's starting to reach that potential, that crazy scoring potential he has. If he can be something, if he can turn up and keep this going throughout the postseason, I still think Denver's up there with those guys, but it's just something to see. They also don't have the best depth. Their bench it's okay. It's something that can, like, there's better benches, like, especially in the West. So, that could hurt them. It's a lot more on Jokic now that Murray's out. It's tough for the Nuggets, but if that's something to fear, it would be scoring from the perimeter. That would be something to be afraid of, because now they don't. It's gonna have to be Will Barton, and Will Barton could be cool some nights. He can be uncool some other nights. So it's tough for Denver. If I want to get into Utah now, I think my biggest fear with the Jazz is, you don't see it. I haven't seen it too much this season, but it's happened a few times, and most notably in like a couple of those national games, like a couple of those big games. there's such an incredible 3-point shooting team. My thing is, there's going to be games in the playoffs where all those threes are not going in. And it showed up in a couple of those national games. When those threes aren't going in, it's kind of like, hey, Donovan, can you bail us out here real quick? And it's just, he can do it to a certain extent, and he's got the mindset for it. And that's why I love Mitchell. But it's just, then it becomes D Mitch versus the other team's superstar. And a lot of the times it's just going to be the Jazz just don't have. It's going to turn into a you score, I score kind of thing when those threes aren't falling. And it's going to be some series like where it's like they just don't have the best guy in the game, and that's unfortunate, but it's just how it is. When those threes aren't falling, they're going to have to ask Mitchell to do a lot, and that's scary to me, because even though I love Mitchell, he's not on the level with Bron and Kawhi and AD and Jokic, and it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That's one thing to be afraid of when the threes aren't falling. For Phoenix, they played the Nets today. I've been loving Phoenix for the past few months. And I saw something today that kind of put a little bit of fear into me. The Suns are awesome. They're really good. Sorry. They're a really good defensive team. They are, and they can score. They got their ISO scorers. They don't really have that one real defensive stopper. And I love Mikal Bridges, but I don't know if he's guarding, those big guys. Like, they don't have an Aaron Gordon guy on their team. That's tough. That's tough, so that could come back to haunt them. Another thing is, they got into like an ISO scoring thing. They got into a shot-making war with the Nets, and they didn't win. And I know not every team has KD and Kyrie, but other teams in the West have Jokic and Kawhi and LeBron. And again, it's tough. I saw that today. They don't have a great defensive stopper, and if they have to get into a you score, I score kind of thing, a lot of like Utah, if they have to get into that, I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's something to look out for. Because there are, as much as I love the Suns, there are more talented teams in the West, such as the LA Clippers, who I'm going to get into now. The Clippers, they're the Clippers. That's not my analysis, but they are the Clippers. And, to start the season off, they weren't showing these little things, but now they kind of are. And this team also seems very jump shot heavy. They don't try to go to the rim that much, and when they do, it's just like, They shoot a lot of jump shots. That's not always going to be sustainable. You feel me? And they got their awesome guy. They got Kawhi Leonard, and I don't care what he did last year in Game 7. I don't care. He's playoff proven. So that's one huge chip for the Clippers. I don't love a team that their X factor, so to say, is their second best player. That's very scary. And Paul George, he has had an incredible season, absolutely. And I don't want to be the dude who slanders Paul George. I don't. But it's a real problem. It's a real scare. Is he going to be there? This Clippers team, it's not even like game plan or whatever. It's not personnel for me. For me, it isn't. Maybe depth, but honestly, I don't care much about that, because you're gonna shorten your rotation in the postseason. It's just, honestly, with the Clippers, I kind of hate it, but it's honestly just kind of like a show me kind of thing. Like, are you just gonna be there? Are you gonna have the effort? Are you gonna have the want? And against certain teams, they'll show up, but it's like the Clippers are just scary. They just are, and not in a good way. They're just like the vibes aren't totally gone. The stench is not totally gone with the Clippers. So that's my thing. One team I could certainly see them getting up for, and who they would love to play is the LA Lakers. And these are your defending champions. There's really not much to be afraid of here. They just won the title. They got their two incredible guys. My one fear would be, are their incredible guys going to be there? I'm sure Bron is. When Bron comes back, he's going to be fine. He's the most durable player like ever. His teammate, I don't know. And I love Anthony Davis. I absolutely love Anthony Davis. I think he does not get the credit he deserves. He's an incredible player when he's on the court. I don't know if I totally trust AD to be fully ready and be available for 4 straight postseason rounds. I don't know. And he was healthy for the most part last season, but then he got hurt in the finals and he wasn't totally himself. So it's like, at least not for the whole series. So he's been banged up all season. He had some Achilles thing. Anytime you hear Achilles, that's scary. AD's health is my biggest fear for this team. Is he gonna be there all postseason? Really? You could look at the supporting cast. There was a stretch where AD was out and it was just Bron really, and the shooting was really, really bad. But the way that these guys have fought since Bron's been out, the way that these guys have fought and still kept that defensive intensity, I'm kind of not worried about the cast anymore. I think Bron will have those guys turning up. Really not too many fears with the Lakers. It's just Anthony Davis. Is he going to be there? Hopping over to the East now. If we can look at the 76ers, right? A lot of people like Philly to come out the East. And I get it. I totally get it. They got their monster. They got their dominant MVP candidate. They got a ferocious defense. New regime, right? New GM, new head coach, new culture. It feels like I got it. Philly's a great story. I get it. I don't know how good this offense is going to be in the postseason. Now, maybe Embiid can just lose his mind the whole postseason. Nobody in the league can guard him. I totally agree there. He's a monster. And maybe Embiid just by himself is something to carry. Like he can just carry the Sixers offense all the way. My fear is that I don't know if Philly has enough scoring outside of Embiid to really put pressure on teams. I don't. I look at the perimeter scoring and I'm just like, if I'm a team looking at the Sixers, I look at their backcourt and I'm like, you know what? I don't have any fear that anyone right there is going to kill me as far as scoring, as far as going off the dribble and getting their own shot. I'm not going to put that much pressure on those guys. Here's another thing. Another team whose X factor is their second best player. I don't love it. I don't love that. It's Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has a clear weakness. And teams are going to exploit that. The Raptors did a couple years ago. Oh, Ben Simmons can't shoot. Yeah, let's help off of him. He probably won't try to take charge. Yeah, let's not worry about him. Let's focus in on Embiid. And I know they have Tobias Harris. I know. But if Tobias Harris is your second scoring option, I just don't love that. I just don't love that. I don't. And Tobias is awesome. He's an awesome scorer. He's been great in the clutch. He's been great in the clutch as far as scoring all season. I don't know about playoff defense and Tobias Harris. I don't know. I'm not saying he can't. It's just unknown. And Tobias is cool. He's not a superstar by any means. It's this Sixers offense. It's just something I feel like that can easily be exploited by a smart team with a good defense. I really feel like it can, and it scares me. It scares me for Philly. Now maybe Embiid can go off so much and it won't matter, but I think a smart defensive team could key in on that. So that just scoring outside of Embiid scares me. That's my one fear with Philly. Another team who has, been the butt of some playoff jokes, the Milwaukee Bucks. I know they're fun to laugh at. I know. Honestly, with the Bucks, I know I ripped them a couple videos ago, but they have been working in some new stuff, and I see them trying new stuff. It's not just Giannis top of the key, run in the paint, be stupid. It's been some new stuff. My problem with the Bucks is not personnel. It's not really scheme stuff. It's honestly, here we go again. It's honestly just Coach Bud. Do I trust Bud? Seriously, like, if that Giannis get the ball at the top of the key thing and just initiate offense every time, if that's the case, then no, they're not going anywhere. And like, if Bud does not change up his strategy, yeah, that's a big fear. But if they can bring in Drew Holiday for what he was brought in for, is another initiator on the perimeter who can get stuff started, who can help out Giannis whenever that team is building a wall or whatever. If Bud can just get his head out of his behind and go to a plan B into a plan C when defenses throw different stuff at him, I think the Bucks can absolutely come out of the East. It's just, is Bud gonna be like, is he gonna do the right thing? Pretty much. Is Bud gonna get his head out of his behind? That's pretty much, that's my thing with the Bucks, because honestly, they got their superstar, they got their second guy, they got their third guy. They got guys. They got a good team. They do. It's just, I don't trust their head coach, and that's something to fear. If they run into the wrong team, I could certainly see them going down in flames again, but I can see them doing some damage. It's not impossible for Milwaukee to come out of the Eastern Conference. The most likely team to come out of the East, I would say, is the Brooklyn Nets. Sorry, y'all. If you hate Kevin Durant, if you hate James Harden, if you hate Kyrie Irving, I'm sorry. I think they're the favorites if they're healthy. That is my biggest fear with Brooklyn. Are these guys going to be healthy? KD's been banged up all season. Harden's been banged up a lot. He's dealing with this hamstring thing now. He might not be back until round 2 of the playoffs. And that's very scary. Now, if 2 of these dudes are healthy, if you can promise me 2 of these dudes to be healthy, at least 2 of them, I have no problem. This team, they gutted their roster, but somehow they're still fighting on the defensive end. They're not a great defensive team, and I guess that could be a fear. They're not a great defensive team. They don't have a super impressive front court. They don't. And, the defensive breakdowns are nasty, but there's less of them than there was before. And they try. They try hard on defense, and that's all you have to do. When you have a crazy offense like that, all you need to do is try on defense, and good things are going to happen. But it is a fear. I get it. Like, the Nets defense is not great, and an awesome offense. I think the Bucks, if the Bucks play correctly, they could eat the Nets alive on defense. But are they going to outscore them if all those guys are healthy? Probably not. But are these guys going to be healthy? KD, I don't know if KD can go a full 4 rounds in the playoffs. I don't know. I have no idea how that dude's lower body's doing. I don't know. Kyrie's always had injury problems. I don't know if he is going to be able to go all 4 rounds. I think when Harden comes back, I think he'll be okay because he's, super durable and all that. But offense is not my fear. It shouldn't be anybody's fear. Defense could be a fear depending on the matchup, but I don't think it'll matter because these dudes will put up 127 in regulation like how they did today, and nothing else will matter. If these guys are on the court, because I am legitimately getting scared that these guys just won't be healthy. These guys, how many games have they played together? Like 7? That's not a big enough sample size at all. So we're just gonna have to see. But yes, that would be my fear with every contender that we have going into the postseason. Again, my apologies to the Celtics. I don't think you guys are ready for deep playoff runs yet. You got a lot of stuff to work out defensively, working together offensively, all that good stuff. Miami, I'm sorry, your offense is terrible to me. The Mavericks, Luka can go off whenever, and I wouldn't rule out some crazy run, but talent-wise, you're just a little lower on the depth chart. Portland, your defense is awful. I don't see that happening. And and the Knicks, you guys fight hard on defense. Valuable season for y'all, but outside of Julius, I don't see much to be afraid of if I'm any other playoff team. But and the Hawks as well. Shout out to the Hawks. They're not contenders, but one thing I would fear is Trae Young. And I know that's crazy, right? He's the star of the team. I know. Teams will pick on him in the playoffs. And is he ready for that? Is he ready to, can you promise me Trae Young's going to be awesome every single game? Because he's going to have to be, because teams will go at him on defense. So that's something to fear. He could be a liability depending on the matchup. Absolutely. So that's one thing to fear with the Hawks. I don't think they're really contenders, but that's something to bring up. But yes, this video is running incredibly long, but those are my fears for every contending team in the NBA. I cannot wait for the playoffs. Side note, this is not an NFL video, but I can't wait for the draft. And yeah, if you like this video, if you enjoyed my content, please hit the like button on this, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another one. This has been Playoff Don. Shout out to Zach Wilson. He is my favorite dude in this draft. And yeah, I'm out.